Well, Munib, I know you have a very tight schedule. So if you would like us to start, I can just say a few words and then pass on to you.
That's good, thanks.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Module 2 of the Snow Leopard Network Training Initiative. It's so great to see so many familiar faces and many new faces from Module 1. I'm just going to say a few very quick words, and then I'm passing it all to Munip and Chaksa and the ungulate team, and it's going to be them for the next 4 weeks, and you won't see my face again because they had enough of me from the camera trap module. But just wanted to say just a few things. We are recording these trainings, and we hope to then have them on our website afterwards and create kind of a toolkit on ungulate surveys, as we have done with the camera trap survey. So just so you know, these presentations are recorded, and if you have any issues with that or any concerns, please let us know. It's just a heads up. Also, Raki is preparing, she's prepared this great initiative related to participated certificates at the end. She wants, which is really nice to provide. SLN will be providing everyone certificates if you attend all live events, live training events, all 4 sessions. So this is a nice incentive, a nice carrot to encourage supporting Munip and Chaksa and the others over in these next 4 sessions. So thank you all for coming, and that's all for me. Now I'll pass it over to Munip.
Super, thanks Justine, and hi everyone. It's really nice to see everyone here. Can I just ask, can you guys hear me well? I know my voice is a little muffled, but is it relatively audible? Just somebody, or if you can just type in the chat, or okay, perfect. Thanks, Stans. Cool. So just to start off, can people write in the chat where they're coming from, where they're listening into this webinar from, just so people know the sort of places we are from. I will type as well. We have people from India, Canada, China, Nepal. Super. Iran as well. Wow, Germany plus a few countries in Central Asia. Super. Great. So thank you all firstly for coming from all different parts of the world. I'm sure it's hard with everything that's going on, and also wishing everybody good health in these tough times. So just over the next 4 weeks, we'll talk ungulates, and more specifically, we'll talk caprine and the mountain ungulates, mostly in snow leopard landscape, and we'll talk about methods to study them, especially their abundance and density. So it's going to be really a journey across 4 classes. We'll try to keep it as interactive as possible and try to speak of concepts through examples rather than just abstract, so people have a feel for things. I do want to say I hope to keep this quite interactive, so participation would be great. Feel free to speak up anytime. If there's any questions in the middle of the presentations, feel free to either write them in the chat or to speak up straight. So that'll be great. And with that, we can start. So I thought to start off, assuming that we all here love ungulates, I've made a little poll for us. It's very specific to ungulates in Central Asia. So we'll start off with that poll just to, break the ice and see, get to know a little bit more about ungulates. So I'll just launch my poll. I've called it Ungulate Nerds. Okay, so now you guys can see the poll. There's 5 questions on this first poll, and you guys can test your general knowledge about ungulates in Central Asia.
So you want us to answer all 5 questions?
Yes. For this, all 5, please. Yeah. Take your time, read it carefully. some of the questions might be a bit tricky. Some might be really easy. Answers coming in. There's a lot of trickling in. That's good.
You saw my comment?
Yes, Stephen. Thanks. I'll address that in a second. Great, lots of answers coming in now. So we'll end the poll in about 30 seconds.
Hello?
Great, so let's end the poll soon. Great, and I'll just share the results with everyone. Can you guys see the results? So just to answer the question, so which ungulates found within the snow leopard range is the largest wild sheep? It is indeed the argali. So there was a lot of correct answers. About 13 of you answered that correct. It's not the ibex nor the bighorn sheep, which is not found in these areas. Which of the following ungulates is not found within snow leopard range? It is indeed the mountain goat, which is found in North America. Question 3 was, globally, which ungulate contributes most to the snow leopard diet? Actually, from a study, it says potentially the Asiatic ibex, so not the blue sheep, but the blue sheep is a very, very close second. So it's quite debatable how that plays out. And question 4, which is your favorite? It's up to you, really. Mine is the markhor and the blue sheep. And question 5, and Stefan, you're right, actually, I've put in Uriel, but technically it's the mouflon. So if people have said, I have no idea, it's probably better. So that's great. Okay, so let me stop sharing the results. And with that, we can start the presentation. So give me a second. I'll share my screen. Great. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Super. Okay, so I'll just start off by saying that, you know, this whole module, this class, and the next 3 classes have really been, while I'm speaking to you mostly today and maybe through the next classes, it's really been a collaborative effort by many people. These are Hussein Ali, he's from Snow Leopard Foundation in Pakistan. Puji, she works in SLCF up in Mongolia. Chaksa, who's with us here, also works in Mongolia. Lingyun, who works in China with Chanshui, and myself, Munib. I'm based in the UK doing my PhD, but I work with Nature Conservation Foundation, which is Snow Leopard Trust's India country partner. So it's really a collaborative effort. So the aim of today's class is to understand the importance of monitoring, then think a little bit more about the importance of monitoring ungulates, and then talk a little bit about ingredients of good monitoring, what really makes good monitoring, challenges to good monitoring. Then we'll talk a little bit about traditional methods that have been used to monitor ungulates in the mountains, but also talk about some of their shortcomings. And lastly, we'll have a very brief introduction to this method called the double observer method that we use a lot in the mountains, and see how it might be something that one can use to study mountain ungulates in mountainous habitat. So let me start off by saying what monitoring really is. And here I show you a few definitions that are taken from different places. For instance, one of the definitions says, it's to, I'll just get my laser pointer. So it basically says, monitoring is to observe and check on the progress or quality of something over a period of time. And keep under systematic review. So you can already see there's an aspect of observation, there's an aspect of time, and an aspect of quality. Another definition talks about how it's to maintain regular surveillance over something, or to watch, to keep track of, or check for a specific purpose. And when you think about this in the context of species, especially ungulates, monitoring perhaps indicates to counting individuals, or let's say looking at species richness or diversity over time to detect change in a series of standardized surveys. So monitoring, as I said, it's about a metric, whatever that metric may be, and it's about time, and it's about standardized ways to collect that over time. Most of you probably know all of this or some of it, but this is just to really make a base for our understanding. And why is monitoring important? Monitoring has ecological value because it helps us in understanding drivers of population change. And a lot of what I say, I will say in the context of mounted ungulates, for instance, but it's obviously applicable to many more species. If you monitor species populations over time, we can understand how natural fluctuations in populations might occur. Natural fluctuations are, due to birth rates and death rates, for instance, or intrinsic factors. How persecution, for instance, poaching or other forms of hunting might affect their populations. How habitat change and loss due to, let's say, large-scale mining or infrastructure projects affects species populations, or other factors such as disease and climate change affect populations. So monitoring really allows you to try and understand these ecological factors that affect population change. At the same time, monitoring also has conservation value because it can give you a sense of evidence-based conservations. And obviously, this is not an exhaustive list, but just to say, when you start monitoring a population for the first time, for instance, it can help you set a baseline. So okay, this is how many ungulates I have, or this is how many species of interest I have. So from there, can I increase or decrease, or how has my population changed over time with respect to that baseline? And over time, you can get population trends and see, okay, is my population increasing, decreasing, what's happening? And very, very importantly, in an area where you don't know how the populations are doing or not, you can identify conservation priorities. We all know that conservation is a discipline that's plagued by very little resources, especially money and human power. So we really need to prioritize, and monitoring can help us know, okay, which areas to prioritize and when. So as you can see, monitoring both has a ecological value and a conservation value. And why is monitoring ungulates important? We know that mounted ungulates are key determinants of snow leopard populations. In fact, what we also know, interestingly, is that even in areas where there's enough livestock that one can say, okay, maybe snow leopards can sustain themselves on livestock, they still are limited by the number of wild ungulates in those areas. So it's interesting. And what that basically means is, it's really the ungulate numbers that are tied very closely to the snow leopard numbers, even though livestock depredation is opportunistic. So there is this very important ecological link with predators that the ungulates have. But we also know from various different studies, especially in the mountains, ungulates influence the vegetation structure and nutrient cycling of these areas. So already what you can see is that these ungulates are important also for these bottom-up processes in a way. And collectively, this is just a term that I've come up with, and people can feel free to disagree, but I call them the ecological fulcrum, in the sense that, the ungulates are sort of in the middle of this sort of dynamic with the predators and sort of the vegetation. So they're quite important. And a point I don't write here, but ungulates are equally important for those, especially in Asia. There's so many licensed hunting concessions for ungulates all across Asia, for instance. So ungulates are important from that perspective as well, and way, way, way more. But this is just to give a sort of a sense of why, you know, they might be important. So I just want everyone to type in the chat and think about their study area or you know, the region where they come from. Particularly thinking about, when I say ungulates, particularly thinking about mountain ungulates, and list as to why ungulates might be important in their area. And not only ecologically, it could be ecological, cultural, conservation-wise, whatever. So let's give everyone a couple of minutes to just type in the chat, and I can read out the answers if you can see the chat. So yeah, let me type as well. Anyone from your field side, why do you think ungulates might be important? Let's see, give it another couple of minutes. Key components of the ecosystem. Play to rush predators, perfect. Similar to the points. Any different points? Income source, okay. So can you elaborate? Is that income source through? And you can speak up as well if you want. Ecologically, they form important prey base for the endangered snow leopard. Exactly. Nutrient cycling. Perfect. Nice. Lots of answers. Through trophy hunting. Oh, interesting. Nature-based observations and tourism. Nice. Vegetation structure and prey base. Yes, perfect. Lovely answers coming in. I come from Kargil. Social culture, folklore. Interesting, Iftikhar. That's really nice. Okay. So yeah, as you can see, already see from some of these answers. Oh, Helena has written something. Pray for large carnivores effect on vegetation. They eat soil balance in the ecosystem. Great to see when people are in the mountains. Yes. Lovely answers coming in. Balance vegetation. Most importantly, we can detect. Oh, that's an interesting answer. So I think it's maybe the name. Ahmed says there's almost a proximity relationship between ungulates and carnivores. Carnivore diet, culturally important. Oh, nice. So the traditional hunting, displays of horn and houses and mazars. Interesting, Stefan. In my field side as well, we have these people put horns on top of different structures. One is called lato, just as a way to, they symbolize ancestors, spirits, for instance. Great. Thanks everyone for these wonderful answers. So as you can already see, ungulates, especially mountain ungulates, play such a diverse role, and hence they are an integral part of and an important part of any mountain ecosystem. So I'll just